So we've been running the Supermoto setup for a little bit now, and everything's going really well, but there is an issue that this setup causes, which is the speedo is incorrect, because this is a 17-inch rim. The bike thinks it has this, a 21-inch rim. What we need to do is correct that. So what are we going to do to correct it? Well, we're going to put in this. This is a speedometer calibrator from 12 O'Clock Labs. And it's basically just this kind of piece of a wiring harness that you kind of tap into. There's two pairs of male and female connectors here. So it looks like there's two sets that we'll have to tap into from the stock wiring. And then it has this little box connected to it at the end here with a button. And basically what we're going to do here is just use this button and a series of lights to basically tell the speedo on the bike, the engine's computer, to reduce or increase the speed that it's showing by a percentage. This is specific for a 450RL or 450L actually, and even mentions in the back here, because it pretty much knows that the reason why you're doing this is for a Supermoto setup, and so it does specify here specifically if you're using a Supermoto wheel in the front, your speedometer value, basically what you're going to program into this, is minus 12%. What that's saying is whatever speed you're showing, take 12% of whatever that speed is off, and that will give you the correct reading. And that makes sense really, because you would assume that this would have to go down, that it's currently overestimating because it thinks there's a larger tire in the front, but you're actually put something smaller down. You're going less distance with one spin of the tire than you would be with the regular set of 21s. However, I decided to go out earlier today to just kind of get a baseline and see what things are looking like right now, and also just to kind of verify that this 12% is in fact what I should be putting in. And I actually found something pretty interesting, so take a look. Alright, here we go. Open stretch. Let's see what the numbers say. So we'll take it up to 45, 46. There we go, 45. Hold it steady. I'm not good at holding it steady, but it looks like it's actually underestimating. So the bike is showing me about 1 or 2 miles an hour lower than the GPS, than the actual speed. Looks like I actually have to raise the speed limit. Yep, it's still showing about 1 or 2 miles an hour over. How weird. So this is telling me to reduce it by 12% because it thinks it's overestimating, but in fact my bike with the 17s rather than the 21s are actually underestimating. I kind of took a look at that footage, specifically kind of went frame by frame to see all the series of numbers that both the bike and the GPS were showing me, to get a ratio of those two to see exactly what the percentage difference is, and it varied a little bit, but if I took an average across all of that, it looks like, in fact, rather than reducing it by 12%, I actually need to increase it by about 3%. And I actually used 2 different GPS apps when I was doing this to just make sure that that app wasn't a fluke. So first things first, we got to get into the wiring harness. So what that means is taking this off. So we're just gonna pull off the headlight here. I think it's just a couple of bolts, one on each side, and then we'll have a series of plugs behind here. And it should be pretty easy to figure out which ones go where, because they are very specific wires with specific little plugs, little outlets there, so it shouldn't be a huge issue to put this in. Then once it's all wired in, we'll have to take a look at these specific instructions. I know there's a lot of different series and different procedures that you're going to have to do specifically to get this to actually show the percentage that you want. So let's go straight into it and let's pull off that headlight. So we got the headlight off and just kind of moved it to the side here. This is actually super easy because there's 2 connections basically that we need to tap into to bypass, more or less. And it's all going to be underneath this little piece right here. One is basically the headlight exactly right here. So there's a wire that goes from the headlight up, and that's our 3-pin that we need to tap into. And then the second one is this 2-pin, which is the speed sensor that goes all the way down here, all the way up, follows the brake around, loops down, and is this piece right here. So we're just gonna plug in a bunch of stuff. We got 4 connections we gotta plug in together, and then we should be ready to go. It's that easy. All right, that was easy. So we got these plugged in, 2 going up there, and 2 going over here. We'll clean that up later, but this is the piece that we're gonna worry about now. So this is the actual device, more or less, the button to program it, to tell it what correction percentage we need. This takes 3-digit values in a plus or a minus. So basically what we have to tell this is program it to say we want a plus and we want the numbers 030 to represent 0.0%. We're going to turn on the ignition here real quick, and according to the instructions, this should flash. This is going to be fun to do with the camera in my hand. Assuming we did everything right, this should flash red, green, or green, red, something like that. Cool, so we got a green, red flash. That's good. All that you have to do to input this thing is this one little button. So we're going to push and hold for 5 blinks to get into program mode. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. All right, now it's flashing. First, we're going to tell it plus or minus. Plus is green, minus is red. So we're going to push and hold, and it'll go green, red, red. So I have to wait until the green shows up, and then I can let go, like that. Okay, it accepted it. So now we got to tell it 0, because it's a single digit, but it's still going to show in 3. And for this purpose, 0 is 10 blinks. So we're going to push and hold this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, thought about it for a second. We're on to the next digit. This one's a 3. Push and hold again. 1, 2, 3. And then we have another 0. So this is going to be a push and hold for 10. 9, 10. Cool. All right, it showed like an amber kind of orange color, so that accepted it. Perfect. So based on those series of flashes, I assume we provided a plus 3%, but we can check that. So we'll go back into the menu with the series of flashes. So the first time when we went in for the actual programming, it was 5 flashes. This time we're going to just do 2. So it'll be green because it's plus. 1, 2, 3. And then a long one, which is 0. Cool. So this is exactly what we want. We have a plus 0.3 percentage there. With that, all we have to do is tidy all this back up, clean it up. We've got a couple of zip ties that we can use. Also, quick note, it does come with this little gray wire. And this is used to plug into an additional device from 12 O'Clock Labs if you want it. So we won't worry about this right now. We'll just tape it off for now. And just like that, headlights back together. That was super easy. Let's go out there and find out how close we are. Okay, here we go. GPS, speedo. So far it's correct, but for real, let's take it out, get it up to speed, and see if my calculations were correct. Hopefully no one has to revoke my math degree. All right, here we go. Bring it up to 35 and hold it there. Yeah! It's kind of changing a little bit. It's not 100% with this one, but we'll get up to something more like 45, 55, and then we'll see. The higher the speed, the more of a difference you'll see. Here we go, 55 mile an hour road. Let's see how it does. Steady. Wow. I think I got it pretty much on the money. That's fantastic. My math credentials will remain intact. Now I can ride around trouble-free, knowing that the miles per hour that show on the dash is actually what I'm doing, which is a nice change of pace for my supermoto, because I know with the DRZ previously, that was always off, never fixed it. So I guess with that, I will see you next time I have a part to bolt on to this bike.